question that I get asked quite often is, how wet should my brush be? Now, I tend to stick with the same process every time, and what I do is I just bash my brush on the bottom of the pot, and then I will just take it off the very, very tip of the brush 2 or 3 times like so. So I've still got a lot of liquid in my brush. Then I will go to pick up, and I will just pick up a bead like that, and then I will place it 1 millimeter away from the cuticle, press down lightly, and then just press, 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 press in towards the cuticle, and then just brush down like so, wiping my brush every time I come off. Sometimes when I come back on, I will turn my brush over like this, so I'm using the clean side of my brush. I will then just do the same again. I'll pick up my bead. This time I'll place it about 3/4 of the way up the nail. Press lightly and lift off like that. Press, lift. I'll dab excess moisture out of my brush, and I will leave that there for a few seconds just so that the acrylic actually polymerizes and starts to set. I will now brush from the back all the way down the nail, rotating the finger where necessary so that I can see the sides like so, and I will always brush the full length of the nail coming off the end of the nail. I will now just do exactly the same, go into a fresh area here, pick up, place the bead right on the end of the nail tip, take the excess moisture out your brush, tap out around so it's even, and then brush backwards into the rest of the nail that you did before. Now sometimes you get a little bit of hangover here, so you can just drag your brush along the edges like this just to take off that excess there. Now once I've done that, I will then just go back and apply one all over the whole of the nail. Same process. I don't worry about how much liquid's in my brush. I do it exactly the same every time. And then I will just brush down the full length of the nail. And then we get a really nice smooth surface. And I will have my arch built in, because with the second bead I actually waited just to let the acrylic polymerize or partly set. Now if you find that when you look at it from the side you think, oh, my arch isn't quite big enough, then you can just go back on, place a bead again wherever you think you need it, usually about 3/4 of the way up. Again, let that polymerize slightly. If it starts going over the edges, just tap tap at the sides like this, and then just brush down the full length of the nail once it's partly set. And that way you'll get a really smooth finish on the nail with a nice arch as well. So you can see that it's really easy to use this system. The main problem is that people just kind of get confused as to how wet the brush should be. Some people say, right, for a big bead I just want to take a little bit off. For a medium bead I need to go half down the brush, take more off. And for a small bead I need to go the full length of the brush and take that off. Well, as I said, I don't do that. I just do exactly the same every time. Bash it on the bottom, take it off the tip only, and pick my bead up on a fresh area, and there we go. See how it's on one side of the brush only, not both sides. because that both sides of the brush is something you don't want. Okay, so I'll just get rid of that little bead there. If you find that you are actually picking up and you, for some reason you're getting it on both sides of the brush, when you stroke off, you'll find that you'll get a little bit of acrylic sticking to the other side of the brush. Now you must make sure you clean that off before you go back into your monomer, obviously, because you don't want to wreck this. It'll all go syrupy and thick. Also, you'll find that that will gradually dry on your brush, and your brush will end up as though it's like it's gone really solid and dry. So that's something you don't want either. You want to keep your brush in a really nice flat condition. As you can see, my brush here, this is a size 10. My brush here has got a crimped front piece there. What that does, it just gives you a nice shape to your brush. Don't get a brush that's got a rounded ferrule here, because you'll end up with a round brush. A flat brush is much better. And once you've got a brush that you like, make sure that you look after it. Clean it at the end of every session in acetone, and then brush cleaner, and then just hang it up to dry so that it doesn't lose its shape. If you do have a brush that for some reason you're left sitting in your acetone and you come back, all the acetone's gone and the brush is bent up like this, then what you can do is to put air drying top coats into the brush. Keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling straight until your brush has actually dried straight. Then leave that overnight, wash it off in acetone, and you'll more than likely find that your brush has come back to its original shape that you wanted it to be. That's just a little trick, just educating the hairs of the brush. So I hope that was helpful.